Okay, so to sketch the graphs, we need to get both of the equations, number 1 and number 2, in y equals mx plus b form. So what I am going to do is I am going to subtract the 6x over to the right-hand side, and that's going to give me negative 4y equals, and to put it in mx plus b form, I'm going to put the negative 6x first, and the 12 never moved, and that was a positive 12, so I'm going to just keep it as such. Okay, now I need to get the y by itself, so I'm going to divide every term, both the left and the right side, by negative, oops, make that negative a little bit bigger, 4. So on the left, the negative 4s are going to cancel out, and I have y equals. Now, here on the right-hand side, I have negative over a negative, which is positive, and 6 over 4, I can reduce that to 3 over 2. So this is going to be 3 over 2. The x, please, again, I've said this to you before in class, but just make sure that this x is not down in the denominator with the 2. That's not the same thing. So you can put the x in the middle like I did, or you can put it up here in the numerator with the 3 if you so choose. Okay. All right, and then we have 12 divided by negative 4, which is a negative 3. So here's the equation of the line, which isn't what they asked for, but we can't graph it without that. So I know I have a y-intercept of negative 3. So I'm going to go down, oh my goodness, 1, 2, 3. You're going to have to bear with me because this graph is so tiny. I apologize if I'm slightly off. And then from there, I'm going to use my pointer. Maybe this will help a little bit. From here, I'm going to go up 3. So 1, 2, 3, then over 2. So you should be putting a dot at 2, 0. And I'm sorry, I should have probably enlarged this graph, but I didn't. Okay, so then I'm going to go up 3 again. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, and then over 2 again, 1, 2. So that's putting me at 4, 3. Okay, and right about there. Then I'm going to do that one more time. 1, 2, 3 over 2, which would be right there. Okay, I'm sorry again. I know that that's kind of nasty. And then you will connect those points. And then we're going to write the equation on that line. And please make sure you have arrows. Now you can write the original equation or the new one. I tend to go with the original. That's just me. 6x minus 4y equals 12. All right, so let's take a look at number 2. So number 2, again, we want to get this to say y equals mx plus b. I hope that you do realize, though, that the first thing I actually want to do, before I move that negative 1 over to the right-hand side, let's distribute first. So I'm going to have y, oh my goodness, y minus 1. My pen's not agreeing with me. I'm so sorry, guys. Equals, and that's going to be negative 2x minus 6, and now I can go ahead and add that 1. So add 1 here, add 1 here, which is going to cross that negative 1 out, and then I'm going to get y equals negative 2x, and that'll be minus 5. All right, so we have the slope, which is negative 2, technically over 1, right? Rise over run, so we're going to go down negative 2 and to the right 1, and our y-intercept is negative 5. So I'm going to start at negative 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, I apologize for the nastiness. Oh boy. 1, 2, 3. It's supposed to be a little bit lower here. There we go. Okay, that's at 0, negative 5. And then I'm going down 2 more, so down to negative 7, and then over 1. So that point will be 1, negative 7. Okay, so I'm going to say that again. And again, I'm so sorry. This is 1, negative 7. Okay, I'm going to go down 2 more and over. So that's going to be 2, negative 9. So when you're doing this, you should be plotting that point at 2, negative 9. Okay, now That's awful. And then, now remember, instead of going down 2 and to the right 1, I can also, from negative 5 here, go up 2 and to the left 1. It's just an option. So that would be, what, negative 1, negative 3, right? So I'm going to do that just to be different. So negative 1, 1, 2, 3. There's the point. Connect those dots. Don't forget your arrows. And then write the equation. So y minus 1 equals negative 2 times x plus 3. All right. Next 2. So same deal again. So I am going to distribute that negative first. So first I'm just going to write y minus 2 equals, that's going to be negative 4x minus 4. And then from there, I'm going to add 2 and add 2. We're just trying to get this into y equals mx plus b form, which is slope-intercept form, right? Okay, don't forget that little phrase, slope-intercept, because you're going to see that on your test, and you need to know what that means for you to do. So that's getting it in y equals mx plus b form. So then I have negative 4x minus 2. Alrighty, so again, my y-intercept is negative 2, so I'm going to go down to negative 2 and put a dot on the y-axis. Hey, I did a good job that time, huh? Then I'm going to go down 4 and to the right 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and to the right 1. So that should be 1, negative 6. I'm going to do that again, and I'm going to go down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and over 1. And that is at 2, where am I? 210? 2, negative 10? Okay, and I'm going to try going up 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and over 1. Okay, and we can connect those points. Arrows and equations. So y minus 2 equals 4 times x plus 1. Oops, and that wasn't 4 times x plus 1, right? It was actually negative 4 times x plus 1. Okay, last one with the graph, I think. Oh, no, actually, I don't think. Okay, we're trying to get y by itself. So I am going to, all right, I'm going to be a bit of a rebel here. I'm going to add the 2 to both sides. Okay, so that gets added with the 10. But at the same time, because I'm lazy and I don't feel like doing this in 2 steps, I'm going to move that 5x over by subtracting it. Now, there isn't anything on the right-hand side that's a like term with it. That's why I kind of have it out there in no man's land. So I have 4y left on the left side. And on the right side, I want to put in mx plus b form. So I'm going to put the negative 5x first. So negative 5x. And that 10 never moved. And it's positive, so I'm just going to leave it as plus 10. Okay? All right, and then from there, I'm going to divide everything by 4 because I'm trying to get the y by itself. All right, so that leaves me with y equals negative 5 over 4. Now the x again, I'm going to put it in the middle, not down in the denominator with the 4. Ooh, 10 over 4. Well, just off to the side, I'm just going to show you 10 over 4. I can divide both of those by 2, right? So that would be 5 over 2. Now 5 over 2 is 2.5. So I am going to write, who sees my mistake? Who sees my mistake? What did Miss Carter forget to do? She forgot to add the 10 and the 2. Right? So this should not be 10 over 4 over here. That should be 12 over 4. You see how I forgot to do that? Oh, that works out so much better for us because now we can just ditch this altogether. And this is going to become a 2. So let me write that. That's a 12. So sorry. And 12 over 4 is 3. See how much better that makes it? Because then we don't have to deal with fractions. All right. So I'm going to go up. Sorry about that. 1, 2, 3. 0, 3, and then I'm going down 5, so 1, yeah, I have to put on my pointer because I can't find it otherwise. All right, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and over 4 to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm at 4, negative 2. Okay, and you'll be able to see it better because you have a bigger graph. 4, negative 2. All right, and then from there, I'm going to go down 5 more. So from here, I'm going down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right. All right, so that looks like 8. I can't even read the numbers. I have my glasses on and I still can't see it. 8 negative something or other. Sorry. Okay, and then my eyes can't handle it. My old eyes cannot handle it. So there is your line. And I'm just going to put it over here. So I've got 5x plus 4y minus 2 equals 10. Okay, don't forget to write the equation and don't forget to put arrows. And I know this looks ugly. I don't have a ruler on me, but do the best you can. All right, lastly, we're going to do 5 and 6. So we've got y equals, I'm going to distribute that 2 through. So that's going to give me 2x. And if I distribute the 2 through again, I have plus 8. Okay, so I'm going to go up to 8, which is right here. And I'm going to go up 2 and to the right 1 because the slope is positive. Now I'm going to go down 2 and to the left 1. Because I kind of am running out of room on the graph, 1, 2 over 1. And again, I am sorry that I'm not exact here, but small graph. So there we go. And don't forget to write the equation. Y equals 2. Oops, 2. Well, that's a pretty 2, right? X plus 4. Okay, last one. So for this one, I am going to add, this is like number 4, I think, right? I'm going to kind of cheat here and move everything all at once. Let's see if I remember to add 7 plus 3 this time, though, right? And then at the same time, I'm going to subtract over 2/3 x. Okay? And that'll get rid of this 2/3 right here. Since it's positive, I'm going to subtract it over. I can't squeeze it in there, so use your imagination a little bit. So on the left-hand side, I'm going to have y equals, and on the right-hand side, I'm going to have negative 2/3 x, and then 7 plus 3 is 10. See, I remember that time. All right, so we're all the way up at the top of the graph here, all the way up at 0, 10. Then, from there, I'm going to go down 2, so 1, 2, and then I'm going to go over 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's going to give me 3, 8, right? Then I'm going to go down 2 again and over 3 again. Down 2 again and then over 3 again. Oops, that one didn't work, did it? There we go. Okay. And we've got y minus 3 plus 2/3 x equals 7. Okay. Now, number 7 wants you to write the equation of a line, but look at what it says in point-slope form. So remember what point-slope form is. So that's y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Okay, well they gave you the slope, so I can plug that in right away. That's negative 8. And they also gave you the point. So I'm going to have y minus negative 7. And then over here, I'm going to have x minus 4. All right, y minus negative 7, well, that's not the way we want to leave it, so we're going to make that y plus 7 equals negative 8 times x minus 4. And there's your answer in point-slope form. Okay, well, we can do the same exact thing for number 8. So I'm going to do y minus 5 equals the slope, which is negative 3 over 5 times x minus 1. And there, again, that's your point slope form. All right, so point slope form again, so that's y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And so we have y minus negative 5 equals the slope, which we know is 5, and x minus 0. Now I wouldn't leave it like this. I would change that y minus negative 5 to y plus 5. And then over here, we really can just write 5x. Now guys, if you want to leave it as x minus 0, that's totally fine. You can. This is just a more simplified version, but it doesn't matter. I would not, however, leave that as y minus negative 5. Please make sure that you change that. Okay, now in number 10, it's still point slope form, but they didn't give us the slope. So off to the side here, I'm going to do the slope formula. Remember, the slope formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I'm going to do 1 minus negative 3. So if you look at what I just did, I did left to right with the y values, right? So now I got to do the same thing here, so left to right. So I am going to do negative 2 minus 0. So in the numerator, that's going to be 4, and in the denominator, that's going to be negative 2, which reduces to negative 2, right? So your slope is negative 2. All right, so now the other issue you have, and it's not really an issue, it's just observation, that you do have 2 points. So when you're using this formula here, what you plug in for y1 and x1 is up to you, to the extent of you can choose both of these values or you can choose both of these. It doesn't matter. Okay, just one or the other. You don't need to do both, obviously. So if I choose the first one, I'm going to get y minus 1 equals the slope, and then x minus negative 2, which would just simplify to y minus 1 equals negative 2 times x plus 4, right? I'm sorry, oh my goodness, x plus 2. I don't know where that 4 came from. All right, so that's one option. Now, if you choose the other set of points, then you would have y minus negative 3 equals negative 2 times x minus 0. All right, so I would change that y minus negative 3 to y plus 3. And this is up to you on the right-hand side. You can leave it exactly as we see it right here. That's okay. Or if you would prefer to get rid of that 0, you can also do that as well. So then that would just be negative 2x on the right-hand side. All right. Okay, last one on this section, number 11, same deal. So I am going to do the slope. So m equals, okay, y2 minus y1. I'm going to go 3 minus negative 6, so I went right to left. So that means in the denominator, I'm going to do 1 minus negative 2, right to left. So that'll give me 9 in the numerator, and what, 3 in the denominator, right? So that reduces to 3. And again, like number 10, in number 11, you have a choice which point you want to put in there, so that's up to you. So if I do the first point, the negative 2, negative 6, I would get y minus negative 6 equals 3, because that's the slope, and then x minus negative 2, right? And simplify that, so that's going to be y plus 6 equals 3 times x plus 2. All right, if you go with the other point, then you're going to have y minus 3 equals 3 times x minus 1. Now, did you notice how much easier that was? Because that point, this point right here, doesn't have any negatives in it, so you don't have to change, double negatives. So, but again, totally up to you. Okay, now read these directions carefully, because this one is now telling you to put the line in slope-intercept form. So now remember, slope-intercept form is really just a fancy way, of saying y equals mx plus b. So y equals mx plus b. And then remember, they did give us that point, negative 4, negative 3. I know this is an x value and this is a y value. So I'm going to take negative 4 and plug it in here. And I'm going to take negative 3 and I'm going to plug it in there. So that's going to give me negative 3 equals negative 8 times negative 4 plus b. Negative 3 equals 32 plus b, and let's subtract that 32 over. And that's going to give me negative 35 for our value of b. So now I'm going to take this, and I'm going to take this, and I'm going to smush them all together, and there's my answer. So y equals negative 8x minus 35. All right, last one. Oh, what am I saying last one? Wishful thinking, huh? Okay, so same thing here. So I know that the slope is negative 2/3. So negative 2/3 x plus b, and I'm going to plug in that point. Now the y value is negative 2, and the x value is a positive 9. Now, I'm going to put that over 1, and the reason why I'm doing that is because the slope is a fraction. So remember, when we're multiplying here, when we're multiplying a fraction with a fraction, we multiply across with the numerators and across with the denominators. But I do notice that there's a common factor here of 3. So I'm going to simplify that because that'll make our math a little bit easier, especially when we get a little further into the year. So 3 divided by 3 is 1, and 3 divided into 9 is 3. Alrighty, and then just remember what we do after that is we multiply numerator with numerator and denominator with denominator. So this is just going to become negative 6. So negative 2 equals negative 6 plus b. Add 6, and 4 is the value for b. Take that, and we get y equals negative 2/3 x plus 4. All right, now for number 14, same deal, except that we actually have to find the slope. So I am going to probably run out of room here, so I'm going to try to squeeze it in over here. So I'm going to do y2 minus y1, so I'm going to go 0 minus negative 4. And in the denominator, I'm going to go 7 minus 6. So that's 4 in the numerator and 1 in the denominator. So that means that slope is just 4. Okay? All right, so I have y equals 4x plus b. All right. You have a choice here because we have to find b. I can pick this point or I can pick this point. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I really hope that you're shouting this one, this one. This has a 0 in it. It just makes your life a lot easier. It makes it easier to do the computations, but it doesn't matter. They're both correct. So I am going to put in a 0 here, and then I've got 4 times 7 plus b. So that's 28, right? So 0 equals 28 plus b. So if I move that 28 over, that becomes negative, right? So that's my value for b. And that will give me a final answer of y equals 4x minus 28. 15 says write the equation of the line in slope-intercept form that is parallel to that line. Okay, that's negative 3 over 2. I just went over that that denominator there, sorry. And it passes through 8, 0. Now remember with parallel lines that they have the same slope. So that's the first thing you need to remember, same slope. Slope-intercept form, you need to remember, is y equals mx plus b. Okay, so if I use y equals mx plus b, then I know the slope is negative 3/2 because that is the slope of the line that they gave me. I am going to then write y equals negative 3/2 x plus b. all I need is the b and I'm all done. Well, I do know that this point here was given to me, so I know that this line, because it says it, passes through that point. So just like numbers 12 through 14, we're going to plug in the x and the y values. I'm going to have 0 equals negative 3 over 2. This is times 8 over 1, and I'm making it a fraction because the slope is a fraction, plus b. So that's 0 equals negative 24, over 2. Now, what could I have done? Not that what I did was wrong, but I did say to you on the last question that I could have canceled these, right? A common factor of 2. So this would become a 1 and this would become a 4. It just makes it a little bit easier when we start getting into some larger numbers. So if you don't, do it right away, that's okay, because you'll still end up with the same thing. It's still going to be negative 12, because if you look at what I wrote down, you'll see negative 24 over 2. That reduces to negative 12. And then I would have, oh, that was a mess, huh? Okay, so this right here becomes negative 12. So let me rewrite that because that's a mess. So I have 0 equals negative 12 plus b, which means I'm going to add 12, and that will give me my value for b. Final answer, y equals negative 3/2 x plus 12. All right, number 6. Write the equation of the line. Also, again, just like number 15 in slope-intercept form, just like number 15, a line that's parallel. We have an equation, and we have a point that it passes through. So I know that my beginning equation is going to start off with y equals negative 5 over 4 times x plus b. Now let's plug in that negative 3 too. So that's going to be 2 equals negative 5 over 4 times negative 3 over 1 plus b. Okay, so I'm not going to make the same mistake that I did on number 15. Not that it was a mistake, I fixed it, but there is no common factor here with any numerator and any denominator. So if that's the case, we're just going to multiply across. So I have 2 equals, and then I'm going to do negative 5 times negative 3, which is positive 15 over 4 plus b. Not what I wanted, but it's what I got. Okay, so I'm going to subtract that 15 over 4 over. So I have 15 minus 15 over 4 minus 15 over 4, and I'm going to cross that out. Okay, so I have to really, at this point, I have to do 2 minus 15 over 4. But I would like these to have the same denominator. This has a denominator of 1. So then what I really want to do is I need to change that 2. So this is really over 1. So I need to multiply it by 4, which means I need to multiply the numerator by 4 also. And this just gives us that common denominator. Okay, so I am going to carry that over here because I can't fit it. So what I really have then is 8 over 4 minus 15 over 4. And then I have the equal sign here, and then I really have the b over here. Okay, so let me just kind of give you a little point. This right here is the 8 over 4. Here's the minus 15 over 4 right here, and that is equal to b. Okay? All right, so now I'm just going to subtract. So 8 minus 15 is negative 7 over 4 equals b. So I have y equals negative 5/4 times x minus 7 over 4. All right, well, 17 is very similar to 16 except for one thing, which is kind of important. Slope-intercept form again, so I'm doing y equals mx plus b, but right here, perpendicular. So now remember, perpendicular lines have slopes that are negative, reciprocals. Okay, so if I look at the line that they gave me, I can see that the slope of this line is -1/5. So then the slope of this perpendicular line would be the negative reciprocal of that, which would be +5. I am going to start by writing y equals, now we said that was +5, right? X plus b. So again, negative reciprocal, we take this slope right here and we take its negative reciprocal, which is +5. And then it says this line that I just made right here, it passes through 5, -9. So just like the other ones, I'm just going to plug those in. So I have -9 equals 5 times 5 plus b. So -9 equals 25 plus b. Subtract that 25 over and add -9 and 25. Okay, they're both negative, so that's going to be -34 equals b. And then write the equation. So y equals 5x minus 34. 18. This changes the form that we're going to write it in, but does talk about a line that's perpendicular. So we're going to look at that -3, and a line that's perpendicular is going to have a negative reciprocal slope, which would be -1/3. And notice I'm writing the point slope form. Okay, so this slope is 3, this slope is -1/3, negative reciprocal. And then we just have to plug in a point. Well, they gave you this point, so actually this one's super easy. So that's going to be y minus -8. I'll change that in a second, -1/3, and x minus 3. So that's going to be y plus 8 equals -1/3 times x minus 3. And there's your perpendicular line in point slope form. This one also wants point slope form. It wants a parallel line, so that means we're going to have equal slopes, right? Same slope. However, look at the way they wrote that line for us. That was not very nice of them. So let's see, point slope form. So I'm going to go y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. But I can't figure out what goes in for m until I know what the slope of this line is. So I am going to leave that negative. Here, let me rewrite that actually. 2x minus 7y minus 3 equals 0. All right, well, I'm going to add the 3 over, and I am going to subtract the 2x over as well. So that's going to make that disappear. Minus, I don't know how I'm going to squeeze that in, -2x. Pretend that's an x. I'm so sorry. All right, so we got -7y equals, now remember that's a -2x all the way out there, and then plus a 3, right? Okay, so let's divide everything by -7. Now listen, I really don't need to go that much further with this equation, because what I'm looking for is a line that's parallel to this one. And parallel lines have the same slope. Here's your slope right here. The only thing I would do is get rid of this negative and this negative, because we know a negative over a negative is a positive. So we know the slope essentially is 2/7. So when I go over to the left here, I'm just going to put in 2/7. I really don't need the rest of that stuff. And then we have a point, because it says it passes through -1, -7. So y minus -7 and x minus -1. So let me simplify that a little bit. So that's going to be y plus 7. And over on the right, x plus 1. And there's the equation of your line. All right, 20. We're bouncing back and forth. That's why we have to read the directions. So just make sure that you read the directions. Write the equation of the line in slope-intercept form. And so we know that that's y equals mx plus b. We're writing the equation of a line in slope-intercept form that passes through this point. So the line that we're trying to create here passes through this point. Let's keep reading. And is perpendicular to a line that passes through these points. So what I need to do is find the equation of this line, or basically really get the slope of this line. And what I'm going to do then, because it's perpendicular, I'm going to take its negative reciprocal. So let's go over here and let's do m equals y2 minus y1, so 6 minus 2, and x2 minus x1, negative 2 minus 4. On the top there, in the numerator, I'm going to get 8, and on the bottom, I'm going to get negative 6. So my slope, I'm going to reduce that, divide everything by 2, is negative 4/3. Now this slope is for the line passing through these 2 points, but we're looking for the slope of the line that passes through this point, and we know that that line is perpendicular to this one. So I'm going to take this negative 3/4 and I'm going to change that, because perpendicular has negative reciprocal slopes, right? That's going to become positive 3 over 4x plus b. And they told you that that new line that we're trying to make passes through the point negative 2, 8. So let's plug that in for x and y. So 8 equals 3 over 4 times negative 2 over 1 plus b. All right, I am not going to make this mistake again. I can see here that we have a common factor of 2. So I'm going to cancel that out. And if you don't do it, I shouldn't have said I'm not going to make that mistake. It's not a mistake. It just makes your life a little bit easier. So that's going to become a negative 1, and this is going to become a positive 2. And then we're going to end up with 8 equals negative 3 in the numerator and 2 in the denominator plus b. So we did not get rid of that fraction. Oh well. I'm going to add 3/2 over. Now remember, I'm going to need a common denominator right here. So this 8 is, right now, that's 8 over 1. But what I want to do is make it so that it has a denominator of 2. So I'm going to multiply this by 2, and I'm going to multiply this by 2. So that's really 16 over 2. Okay, so let me just squeeze that down over here. So 16 over 2 plus 3 over 2, that's a plus, and that is going to be our b value. So that's 19. Oh my. Okay, we're going to try that again. Sorry about that. 19, there we go, over 2. That's your b. So final equation is going to be y equals 3/4 times x plus 19 over 2. Okay, so 21 wants you to find an equation of a line in slope-intercept form. So slope-intercept form, remember that is y equals mx plus b. And this line is going to pass through that point, and it is perpendicular to another line that passes through those 2 points. Now remember, perpendicular, negative reciprocal slope. So I'm going to start by taking this line and finding its slope. So I am going to do slope equals negative 2 minus negative 9 over 2 minus negative 3. So in the numerator here, I'm going to get negative 2 plus 9, which is 7. And in the denominator, I'm going to get 2 plus 3, which is 5. So there's the slope of this line right here. Now we need the slope of this line up here. Well, we know it's perpendicular, so we know that that means negative reciprocals. So y equals negative 5 over 7 times x plus b. Okay, now we're going to plug in the point that they gave us. So the y value is 3 equals, and we've got negative 5 over 7, and the x value is negative 2 over 1 plus b. Okay, I'm going to bring that up here. So what do I have then? So I have 3 equals, and in the new, what I'm going to have over here, remember when I multiply fractions, I multiply straight across. So in the numerator of that fraction, I'm going to end up with 10 over 7 plus b. So I have to move that 10 over 7 by subtracting it. And that's going to cancel it out on the right-hand side. That 3 is technically over 1. And again, we're going to want to find a common denominator. Well, the common denominator would be 7. So both the numerator and the denominator get multiplied by 7. And I'm just going to scoot it out here to the left. So that's going to be 21 over 7. So what I'm doing then is I'm doing 21 over 7 minus 10 over 7. I'm subtracting these two, which is 11 over 7. So 11 over 7 is my b, and now I can write the equation. So y equals negative 5 over 7 times x plus 11 over 7. All right, 22. Okay, 22 wants that equation again in slope-intercept form. And we want, let me see, write an equation of a line in slope-intercept form that is parallel to y equals 7, and it passes through this point. Okay, so let's think about this for a second. If I have a line, this is my x-axis, here's my y-axis, and I have y equals 7. All right, let me put that in a different color so you can see it a little bit better. So like just pretend that this is up at 7. So here's y equals 7. So if I have a line that's parallel to that red line, wouldn't that mean that the line could go like this, or it could go like this, or it could go like this? All of these yellow lines that I'm making are parallel to my y equals 7. However, there's one stipulation here, and the line that I'm going to make, whether it's this one, this one, this one, or this one, it has to pass through 4, negative 15. So let's just eyeball where 4, negative 15 is, and this is a sketch, but 4, negative 15 is like somewhere down here. So what would be the equation of this line if this point is 4, negative 15? Well, you should know that any horizontal line is going to have a y equals, right? These are all y equals equations. And then to find the y value, it would just be what the y value is of this point, because that's where it's hitting the y-axis at negative 15. Okay, so then all you really have to do, y equals negative 15, there's your answer. All you really have to do is, if it's parallel to, in this case, a y equals, then we know we're going to have a y equals. And to find out what the y value is, just look at the point and take the y value. So 23 wants an equation of a line in slope-intercept form, but it wants one that's perpendicular to y equals 3. So let's kind of, again, look at the picture. Now, guys, once you get a good understanding of these, you don't always have to draw a picture, but I think it's helpful. So here's y equals 3, let's just say. Now we need a line that's perpendicular to that, right? So perpendicular would be going vertically, like this. And remember, equations of lines that are vertical are x equals. So then I know that the equation of this line has to be x equals, and look at what it has to do. It has to pass through negative 5, negative 2. So couldn't we use the cheater method of number 22 and say, oh, well, it's got to be negative 5 because that's the x coordinate and this says x equals. Okay, so that's one way of looking at it. Now we could look at it the more mathematical way and say, well, -5, -2 is maybe, roughly somewhere down here. So then I know that this line then would be hitting the x-axis at -5, okay, which gives us that equation. Okay, last one, number 24. Write the equation of the line and point slope form of a line that's perpendicular to x equals 5. So here's my x and y axis. So then I know that x equals 5 is maybe out there, let's just say. And we want a line that's perpendicular to it, and it passes through this point. So let me graph that point. Let me graph that in a different color. So let's say -5, 12. So I'm just going to make it up. Here's -5, 12 right over here. So if the line has to be perpendicular to my blue line, then wouldn't that mean that the line would go like this, right? Okay. And then I know that that is a y equals. And then what determines what goes in this box right here is the y value right here. Well, to get to this point, didn't we go to the left 5 and then up 12? So that means this distance right here is 12, which means then this distance right here is 12. So that y-intercept is 12. And there's your answer, y equals 12.